Hello, welcome to today's daily Bible reading. As always, I'm Khalil.
I'm Xavier.
And today we're going to be continuing our reading of 2 Samuel. Today we'll be starting with 2 Samuel 13. Do you want to talk more about what we read last time?
Yeah, so we read chapters 6 through 12, I believe, and really just read about David. David's now king over Israel, and really we got to see, like, especially in the beginning, chapters 6 through 10, we got to basically see, like, the greatness of David, going out conquesting, his greatness in war, but not only that, his mind and what made him so special. Like something as simple as he made the statement, I basically got a home and the Lord's dwelling in a tent. Like, I want to build a house. So just something like that for him to consider the Lord and have an idea of, hey, I want to build the Lord a house. Like that is a great feat, really. So we've seen kind of like the greatness of David and his beginning of him reigning Israel. And then we've seen in chapters 11 and 12 his fatal mistake, right? Which was him committing adultery and laying with another man's wife. And not only that, having her husband killed, right? Murder, right? And so we see the Lord is going to punish, like he said that, like, the sword will never depart from your house and things of that nature. Like he's going to face the punishment, and his seed's going to face the punishment of that sin, right? But so we've seen the story of David and Bathsheba, which was him sleeping with another man's wife, committing adultery, and things of that nature. So we're picking up right after that.
Yeah. But before we get started with 2 Samuel, we have to start with today's daily Proverbs, which is Proverbs 27. Yeah, without further ado, want to get?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, Proverbs 27 and verse 1. Boast not thyself of tomorrow, for thou knowest not what a day may bring. Let another man praise thee, and not thine own mouth. A stranger, and not thine own lips. A stone is heavy, and the sand weighty, but a fool's wrath is heavier than them both. Wrath is cruel, and anger is outrageous. But who is able to stand before envy? Open rebuke is better than secret love. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. Our Proverbs are like just words of wisdom, right? So don't boast for tomorrow. You'll know what a day may bring. Where in the same way, Christ even talks about in the New Testament how essentially like, hey, don't say we'll do this or that tomorrow, but say like, Lord willing, we'll do this and or that, because you never know when your time is. You may die before tomorrow. You may go to sleep and never wake up. So just to the point, we never really know what will happen, and we shouldn't always assume or think that tomorrow is promised, right? And in the same way, open rebuke is better than secret love, where it is better to rebuke someone and to show them correction, to bring them to the right way, than to love them in secret or to secretly go along with the wickedness that they are doing in love, right? Because one is going to be for their own betterment, and one is not for their betterment, but more so to what? The betterment of what your feelings, because you don't have to do an awkward thing in correcting someone. So one is to the other's benefit, and really to yours as well, and the other is really to their detriment. And same is like really goes for 6. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. A friend wounds you to help you, to make you better. That's that open rebuke. It's to help you. Where they're not beating on you because they hate you. They beat on you because they love you. And they're trying to correct you and show you a better way, right? But the kisses of an enemy, they don't want good for you. They want evil. So whenever they're goody-goody, they're giving you kisses, they're giving you gifts, it's out of deceit. It's out of them wishing you harm. So it's the same as like that secret love. It's saying the same thing, 5 and 6. 7. The full soul loatheth in honeycomb, but to the hungry soul every bitter thing is sweet. Where again, like being appreciative is really what 7's talking about. Someone who's full loathes the honeycomb. So to someone who has so much, even great things are disgusting or loathsome to them. But to someone who's hungry, someone who doesn't have much, even things that are bad, they are grateful for. And that's why even Solomon goes as far and say, Lord, give me bread that's sufficient for me. Don't give me too much, lest I get proud, and don't give me too little that I need to steal. Right? We're all in that same way of being appreciative, right? At all times, whether we have a little or we have a lot, we should be appreciative of the things the Lord gives us. 8. As a bird that wandereth from her nest, so is a man that wandereth from his place. Ointment and perfume rejoice in the heart, so that the sweetness of a man's friend by hearty counsel. Thine own friend and thy father's friend forsake not, neither go into thy brother's house in the day of thy calamity. For better is a neighbor that is near than a brother far off. My son, be wise, and make my heart glad, that I may answer him that reproacheth me. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. 12 could even be about all the things that we've read so far from Genesis to 2 Samuel, or just what we read in 1 and 2 Samuel, where if we are wise, we can see patterns, we can see examples of, well, if you do, like David with Bathsheba, like, well, the Lord doesn't like adultery. And even someone like David, who up to this point has done all this great work, and the Lord is blessed continually. And even when the Lord was talking to David after it happened, he said, I will continue to do such because David did this wickedness in committing adultery. The Lord punished him and cursed him, right? Whereas that example, the Lord doesn't like adultery. So you can't just commit adultery and expect the Lord to be okay with it. No. If you're wise, you'll learn from the example of David, and you won't go, like it says, you'll foresee the evil that the Lord will put on you if you do adultery, and you hide it yourself, or you don't do adultery. You avoid that punishment because you never commit adultery. But the simple pass on, they're punished. They don't learn from the examples. Take his garment that is surety for a stranger, and take a pledge of him for a strange woman. He that blesseth his friend with a loud voice, rising early in the morning, it shall be counted a curse to him. A continual dropping in a very rainy day and a contentious woman are alike. Whosoever hideth her hideth the wind, and the ointment of his right hand, which bewrayeth itself. Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. We all should be working to help one another to make each other better, which goes back to that open rebuke, where people like to think of rebuke as though it's bad, but really, rebuke should be a good thing. You're rebuking someone, or as it's also called reproof, which is really literally just saying showing someone the right way for their own benefit, right? So we all should be like iron sharpening iron. We all should be working to help one another be better. Whoso keepeth the fig tree shall eat the fruit thereof. So he that waiteth on his master shall be honored. All of us who wait on Christ will be honored. As in water face answereth to face, so the heart of man to man. Hell and destruction are never full, so the eyes of man are never satisfied. Again, greed, not being appreciative. As a fine pot for silver and a furnace for gold, so is a man to his praise. Though thou shouldest bray a fool in a mortar among wheat with a pestle, yet will not his foolishness depart from him. Be thou diligent to know the state of thy flock, and look well to thy herds. For riches are not forever, and doth the crown endure to every generation? Again, all things don't last. So that's why he's saying, be wary, be careful. Everything comes to it, whether it's your life or the riches, the things you have in this life, your relationships, whatever it may be. So he says, be careful, count the cost. The hay appeareth, and the tender grass showeth itself, and the herb of the mountain are gathered. The lambs are for thy clothing, and the goats are the price of the field. And thou shalt have goats' milk enough for thy food, for the food of thy household, and for the maintenance, for thy maidens. All right, Proverbs 27. Thank you. Great, good chapter. I don't have anything too specific to say about it.
You said it, but I just want to say it it says, faithful are the wounds of a friend. Meaning, it's it's a wound, it hurts. And nobody's saying it's not supposed to hurt, when you give a rebuke or whatever. But as we talk about in Proverbs, multiple times Solomon's already said, fools hate rebuke, right? The point is, hey, there's something we have to have in our mind. If our goal is to truly serve God, like we need to love this rebuke, right? That don't mean it don't hurt, but hey, you learn from it, you get better from it, and it takes a level of humility for you to receive that correction and receive that rebuke, right? But the point is, so it all goes back to humility, but yeah, like faith for all the wounds of a friend, like it hurts, but it's for your benefit, right? Mm. But like I said, you already said it, so it's not too much more to say about that. But I don't have anything else, man.
Okay, cool. Yeah, then we could just go to 2 Samuel 13.
Yep. Second Samuel 13 and verse 1. And it came to pass after this that Absalom, the son of David, had a fair sister, whose name was Tamar. And Amnon, the son of David, loved her. And Amnon was so vexed that he fell sick for his sister Tamar, for she was a virgin. And Amnon thought it hard for him to do anything to her. But Amnon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, the son of Shimei, David's brother. And Jonadab was a very subtle man. And he said unto him, Why art thou, being the king's son, lean from day to day? Wilt thou not tell me? And Amnon said unto him, I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister. So this is a pretty funky introduction, but you got 3 siblings and a cousin, right? You got Absalom, Amnon, which are brothers, and then you got Tamar, which is her sister, and then you got Jonadab, which is their cousin, right? But Amnon, like it says in verse 4, loves Tamar, right? Likes her. And then, where is it at? Verse 3. It says in verse 2, for she was a virgin, Amnon thought it hard for him to do anything to her. So we'll get to that. But verse 5. And Jonadab said unto him, Lay thee down on thy bed and make thyself sick. So now Jonadab's cousin, who Amnon was confiding in, I guess you could say, now he's kind of giving Amnon a plan of attack. He said, lay thee down on the bed and make thyself sick. So pretend that you're sick, right? And when thy father come to see thee, say unto him, I pray thee, let my sister Tamar come and give me meat, and dress the meat in my sight, that I may see it and eat it at her hand. So Jonadab's like, hey, lay down in the bed, pretend to be sick. When your father sees you, ask for Tamar to come make you some food, right? Verse 6. So Amnon laid down and made himself sick. Amnon's taking heed to this advice, I guess you could say, right? And it goes back really to what we read in Proverbs, and all the Proverbs, but especially what we read today about like the counsel that we listen to, right? But and when the king was come to see him, Amnon said unto the king, I pray thee, let Tamar my sister come and make me a couple of cakes in my sight, that I may eat at her bread. So now David came, and Amnon's making a request, like, hey, can you tell Tamar to come and make me some food? Verse 7. Then David sent home to Tamar, saying, Go now to thy brother Amnon's house and dress his meat. So Tamar went to her brother Amnon's house, and he was laid down. And she took flour and kneaded it, and made cakes in his sights, and did bake the cakes. And she took a pan and poured them out before him, but he refused to eat. And Amnon said, Have out all the men from me. And they went out, every man from him. So she ends up coming and she makes the food for him, but he doesn't want to eat. And now he's kicked everybody out of kicked all the men out, right? Verse 11. And when she had brought them unto him to eat, he took hold of her and said unto her, Come lie with me, my sister. So now he's got everybody out. It's just him and her. And he's like, hey, he grabbed her and was like, come lie with me. Like, come have sex with me, right? Verse 12. And she answered him, Nay, my brother, do not force me, for no such thing ought to be done in Israel. Do not thou this folly. So she's like, no, like, don't do this, right? Don't force me. Verse 13, and I, whither shall I cause my shame to go? And as for thee, thou shalt be as one of the fools in Israel. Now therefore I pray thee, speak unto the king, for he will not withhold me from thee. Howbeit, he would not hearken unto her voice, but being stronger than she, forced her and laid with her. So despite, her warning him, like, no, this is stupid, you're gonna be a fool in Israel. And not only you, but like you're causing me harm, right? Like, this is shame to, this was a time period where you were supposed to be a virgin even today, right? But you were supposed to be a virgin until you got married. That's just how it was supposed to work. But so she's like, no. But in the end of that, it didn't, nothing she said mattered. He still took her, forced her and laid with her. He raped her, right? And if you remember in Genesis, we were talking about how, when the Bible does make a clear distinction between consensual sex, I guess you could say, and rape. Because when it's rape, it says a person forced him, right? The man forced him. Even here, hey, he forced her, right? Raped her. Verse 15. Then Amnon hated her exceedingly, so that the hatred wherewith he hated her was greater than the love wherewith he had loved her. And Amnon said unto her, arise, be gone. So now they finished, what they were doing, and now he hates her. Verse 16. And she said unto him, there is no cause. This evil in sending me away is greater than the other that thou didst unto me. But he would not hearken unto her. So she like, hey, no, like, you already did it. Now you sending me away is worse than what you just did, right? Then he called, verse 17. Then he called his servants that ministered unto him and said, put now this woman out from me, and bolt the door after her. And she had a garment of divers colors upon her, for with such robes were the king's daughters that were virgins apparel. Then his servants brought her out and bolted the door after her. So it's like, nah, get her out, lock the door after her, right? She can't come back in here. Verse 19, and Tamar put ashes on her head and rent her garments of divers colors that was on her, and laid her hand on her head and went on crying. So now she's mourning, right? Because her, like, she just got raped, right? And it said the women, the king's daughters that were virgin, they had like a special robe, right? A garment of diverse colors. So she left and she rent that up, like she's no longer a virgin anymore. Not only is she no longer a virgin, but she was forced out of that position, right? So now she's mourning, crying, things of that nature. Verse 20. And Absalom, her brother, said unto her, hath Amnon thy brother been with thee? Behold now thy peace, my sister. He is thy brother. Regard not this thing. So Tamar remained desolate in her brother Absalom's house. But when King David heard of all these things, he was very wroth. And Absalom spake unto his brother Amnon, neither good nor bad. For Absalom hated Amnon, because he had forced his sister Tamar. And it came to pass after 2 full years that Absalom had sheep shears in Baal Hazor, which is beside Ephraim. And Absalom invited all the king's sons. And Absalom came to the king and said, behold, now thy servant hath sheep shears. Let the king, I beseech thee, and his servants go with thy servant. And the king said unto Absalom, nay, my son, let us not all now go, lest we be chargeable unto thee. And he pressed him. Howbeit he would not go, but blessed him. Then said Absalom, if not, I pray thee, let my brother Amnon go with us. And the king said unto him, why should he go with thee? But Absalom pressed him that he let Amnon and all the king's sons go with him. Now Absalom had commanded his servants, saying, mark ye now, when Amnon's heart is merry with wine, and when I say unto you, smite Amnon, then kill him. Fear not, I have not commanded you, be courageous and be valiant. So 2 years later, Absalom, this is basically his revenge plan, right? 2 years later, he's still on that. He still hates his brother for what he did to his sister, right? So he sets up this plan. He basically getting Amnon away, right? He's like, have all of them come. And he kept asking David. And David, it says he pressed him, right? He kept asking, kept asking. And it got to the point where David was like, yeah, Amnon and all the king's sons, so all your brothers can go up there with you, right? And so Absalom tells his people, hey, figure out when Amnon is drunk, basically, and when he's drunk, kill him, right? He says, fear not, have not I commanded you, be courageous, be valiant, like, kill him, it's okay. Verse 29, and the servants of Absalom did unto Amnon as Absalom had commanded. Then all the king's sons arose, and every man gat him up upon his mule and fled. And it came to pass while they were in the way, that tidings came to David, saying, Absalom hath slain all the king's sons, and there is none of them left. So they followed through with the plan and killed Amnon, right? But as it says in verse 30, someone came back to David and was like, Absalom killed all your children, all the sons of David, right? 31. Then the king arose and tore his garments and lay on the earth, and all the servants stood by with their clothes rent. And Jonadab the son of Shimei, David's brother, answered and said, let not my lord suppose that they have slain all the young men, the king's sons, for Amnon only is dead. So he's like, so Jonadab, the same one who gave the advice or instruction to Amnon, he came back and was like, he told David, don't worry. Not all your sons are dead. Only Amnon is dead, right? For by the appointment of Absalom, this has been determined from the day that he forced his sister Tamar. So he's like, from Absalom, this has been appointed. This was going to happen. This has been in his mind. He's been planning this ever since what Amnon did to his sister Tamar, right? Verse 33. Now therefore let not my lord the king take the thing to his heart to think that all the king's sons are dead, for Amnon only is dead. So he's like, because David is going through it. You can come back almost on some Job timing. Like in the book of Job, when Job lost all his kids, David, he get the news that all his sons are dead. That's a terrible thing, right? Terrible thing to hear as a father. So Jonadab's like, hey, don't think that all your sons are dead. It's only Amnon, right? 34. But Absalom fled, and the young man that kept the watch lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there came much people by the way of the hill side behind him. And Jonadab said unto the king, behold, the king's sons come, as thy servant said. So it is. So he's like, the sons of David end up coming back, and Jonadab's telling him, look, here they come. Just like I said, that's what it was. Verse 36. And it came to pass, as soon as he had made an end of speaking, that behold, the king's sons came, and lifted up their voice and wept. And the king also and his servants wept very sore. But Absalom fled and went to Talmai, the son of Ammihud, king of Geshur. And David mourned for his son every day. So Absalom fled and went to Geshur, and was there 3 years. And the soul of King David longed to go forth unto Absalom, for he was comforted concerning Amnon, seeing he was dead. The end. Chapter 13.
Good reading.
Anything.
Yeah. Sad story, man. I mean, it's the start of what we'll see is a lot of fulfilling of what Nathan told David will happen to him in terms of punishment to Bathsheba. But it's like snowball effect.
Yeah.
But it's a sad start. Poor Tamar. And just what happened with Amnon is crazy.
I'm glad you brought that up, though, because I did want to go back and just read that verse where it says...
He hated?
No. In chapter 12, part of the punishment, chapter 12, verse 10, it says, Now therefore the sword shall never depart from thine house, because thou hast despised me and have taken the wife of Uriah the Hittites to be thy wife. So, I kind of mentioned in the beginning portion, as did he just now, this was part of the punishment. This sword, this beefing, this butting heads amongst David and his seed was going to continue to happen. It was the punishment, right?
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
This is just the start.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have much else to say about 13, though.
Me neither.
All right, cool. Chapter 14. Now Joab the son of Zeruiah perceived that the king's heart was toward Absalom, because and we'll see how this, like, it continues to be a thing. David loves his sons. Even though Absalom killed Amnon, he still loves Absalom. And even like we saw last chapter, he was mad about what Amnon did. So he understands that, like, Amnon did a bad thing, did a wrong thing by raping not only like Absalom's sister, that's David's daughter. So he understands, and he still has love for Absalom. That's the movie where we're picking up. So Joab sees this, and Joab sent to Tekoa, and fetched thence a wise woman, and said unto her, I pray thee, feign thyself to be a mourner, and put on now mourning apparel, and anoint not thyself with oil, but be as a woman that had a long time mourned for the dead, and come to the king, and speak on this manner unto him. So Joab put the words in her mouth. So Joab hires this woman to basically pretend to be like a mourner, or like just like a widow, like to like pretend to be one and has been like a widow for a long time, in order to like say some things to David to get ball rolling. We'll see it in verse 4. And when the woman of Tekoa spake to the king, she fell on her face to the ground and did obeisance, and said, Help, O king. And the king said to her, What aileth thee? And she answered, I am indeed a widow woman, and mine husband is dead. And thine handmaid had 2 sons, and they 2 strove together in the field. And there was none to part them, but the one smote the other, and slew him. So she's like, my husband's dead, I've been a widow for many years, I have 2 sons. My 2 sons ended up fighting. And when they were fighting, they were in a field, no one could like separate them, there was no one there to separate them. So they fought, and one smote and killed the other. Right? And behold, the whole family is risen against thine handmaid. And they said, Deliver him that smote his brother, that we may kill him. And now like the rest of the family wants to kill my son. Right? For the life of his brother whom he slew. And we will destroy the heir also. So they shall quench my coal which is left, and shall not lead to my husband neither name nor remainder upon the earth. But it's like, that's all I have left. That's my husband's last son. So they're going to kill the heir. They're going to kill the last of his seed. Like, they want to kill. So, like, you can already sort of see the pair. Because remember, all of these words are coming from Joab, right? So you can already see the parallel. One son killing another. And now she's basically, we'll see, but she's basically asking the king to help waive the charges against her son that killed the other one, because she wants him to be kept alive, right? So you already can see the parallel Joab is trying to draw within David's mind, right? But on the surface level, like, he's not doing any of this. She's just asking, like, hey, like, they want to kill my last son. I need, like, you can't kill, he's all they have left. Like, they can't kill him. 8. And the king said to the woman, Go to thine house, and I will give charge concerning thee. And the woman of Tekoa said to the king, My lord, O king, will the iniquity be on me and my father's house, and the king and his throne be guiltless. So the king is like, hey, like, it's fine. I will, like, basically, like, almost like you can think of like a presidential pardon, right? Where he's like, I will give charge concerning thee. So basically, like, hey, I will stop them from doing that for your sake. Like, for your sake, I will get them to not kill him, right? And she's like, oh, thank you. Like, if the blood is on our hands, not on yours. So, like, you did us a favor, and thank you, right? And the king said, Whosoever saith aught unto thee, bring him to me, and he shall not touch thee any more. So you have problems, let me know. Then said she, I pray thee, let the king remember the Lord thy God, that thou wouldst not suffer the revengers of blood to destroy any more, lest they destroy my son. And he said, As the Lord liveth, there shall not one hair of thy son fall to the earth. So she's like, yeah, like, basically, like, can I get it in writing? Like, let's swear before the Lord that this is what's going to happen. Where, like, the revengers of the blood aren't going to be allowed to kill my son. And David said, like, hey, they're not, right? Not one hair of thy son shall fall to the earth. Like, nothing's going to happen to him, right? I won't let it. 12. Then the woman said, Let thine handmaid, I pray thee, speak one word unto my lord the king. And he said, Say on. And the woman said, Wherefore then hast thou thought such a thing against the people of God? For the king doth speak this thing as one which is faulty, and that the king does not fetch him home again, is banished. So she's like, well, if you're saying this for me, then wouldn't that also, then if this applies for me, wouldn't that also apply for Absalom? Like, she's not saying his name here yet, but she's like, well, wouldn't that also apply for your banished son? Like, if my son gets freedom, and that he doesn't get killed, shouldn't your son who's banished, because he basically was banished, and then he ran away, right? To not get killed and destroyed for killing Amnon, right? So he's like, well, should you not call him back? Should you not call your banished back? So like now, like all the cards are basically being put on the table. For we must needs die, and are as water split on the ground, which cannot be gathered up again. Neither doth God respect any person. Yet doth he devise means that as banished be not expelled from him. So she's basically, well, God is not a respecter of persons. So if it applies for me, king, shouldn't it apply for, like, him too? Right? Yet doth he devise means that his banished be not expelled from him. Now therefore, that I am come to speak of this thing unto my lord the king, is because the people have made me afraid. And thy handmaid said, I will now speak unto the king, and may be that the king will perform the request of his handmaid. For the king will hear to deliver his handmaid out of the hand of the man that would destroy me and my son together out of the inheritance of God. Then thine handmaid said, the word of my lord the king shall not be comfortable. For as an angel of God, so is my lord the king to discern good and evil. Therefore the Lord thy God will be with thee. So she's saying, like, king, you know what the matter is. Like, the Lord's blessed you that you can discern both good from evil. Right? So, like, please, like, listen to my request. Hear my request. Then the king answered and said unto the woman, Hide not from me, I pray thee, the thing that I shall ask thee. And the woman said, Let my lord the king now speak. And the king said, Is not the hand of Joab with thee in all this? So he's basically, like, David knows, like Joab put you up to this, did he? Like, did Joab, because, like, at this point, he's caught on that, like, all of this is in relation directly to, is all directly in relation to Absalom, right? It literally is just the thing, like, Absalom should be able to come home, right? So he's like, well, did Joab put you up to this? And the woman answered and said, As thy soul liveth, my lord the king, none can turn to the right hand or to the left from aught that my lord the king hath spoken. For thy servant Joab, he bade me, and he put all these words in the mouth of thine handmaid. She's like, well, you got spot on, king, as always. You're right, he did. To fetch about this form of speech hath thy servant Joab done this thing. And my Lord is wise, according to the wisdom of an angel of God, to know all things that are in the earth, like flowering, like you know what it is. And the king said to Joab, Behold now, I've done this thing. Go therefore, bring the young man Absalom again. So he's like, basically like, you make a fair point, Joab. Like, out of my own judgment, same sort of matter, I ruled they should be kept alive. So it's the same thing, yeah, bring Absalom home, right? I basically already said that's what should be done. And Joab fell to the ground and on his face and bowed himself and thanked the king. And Joab said, Today thy servant knoweth that I have found grace in thy sight, my lord, O king, and that the king hath fulfilled the request of his servant. So Joab arose and went to Geshur and brought Absalom to Jerusalem. And the king said, Let him turn to his own house, and let him not see my face. So Absalom returned to his own house and saw not the king's face. So David allowed him to be brought back, but he still, did allow, have Absalom come before him. Like, Absalom's like, okay, let Absalom go to his house, he can stay there, but he's not coming up before me and, in my king's seat. Like, he's staying over there for now. But in all Israel, there was none to be so praised as Absalom for his beauty. From the sole of his foot even to the crown of his head, there was no blemish in him. And Absalom was a handsome man. And when he pulled his head, for it was at every year's end that he pulled it, which means basically get a haircut, right? He pulled his head. Because the hair was heavy on him, therefore he pulled it. He weighed the hair of his head at 200 shekels after the king's weight. So, like, he would cut his hair every year. So, like once a year. And it would weigh, like, 200 shekels. Which is, like, more than a few pounds, if I remember correctly. Which, you know, for hair is a lot. And unto Absalom there were born 3 sons and 1 daughter, whose name was Tamar. She was a woman of fair countenance, so he even has a daughter he names Tamar. So Absalom dwelt 2 full years in Jerusalem and saw not the king's face. Therefore Absalom sent for Joab to have sent him to the king, but he would not come to him. And when he sent again the second time, he would not come. Therefore he said unto his servants, See, Joab's field is near mine, and he hath barley there. Go set it on fire. And Absalom's servants set the field on fire. So now he's trying to get eyes with Joab in order to be able to try and, like, see David again. But Joab won't, like, come to him. So you're already seeing the little Joab's come back. And he, like, and you could maybe say, like, he was justified in, like, killing Amnon because he raped Tamar. We'll see, Absalom is a guy that is just, like, wicked, right? Where here, he wants an audience with Joab, or, like, he's also, what's the word, brutish, right? Very harsh. Where he wants an audience with Joab. Joab's not listening to me. Okay, I'm going to burn his field. Then he's going to want to talk to me about why I burn his field. But we're going to burn his field, then he's going to come to me. 31. Then Joab arose and came to Absalom unto his house. So now, exactly, Joab is going now to Absalom himself. Meaning, going to Absalom's house. And said unto him, Wherefore have thy servant set my field on fire? And Absalom answered Joab, Behold, I send unto thee, saying, Come hither, that I may send thee to the king, to say, Wherefore am I come from Geshur? It had been good for me to have been there still. Now therefore, let me see the king's face, and if there be any iniquity in me, let him kill me. So he's basically like, hey, like, I was trying to gain contact with you. Say to the king, like, hey, if I don't get to see the king, I may as well have, like, basically stayed banished. I should have stayed in Gershom. But, like, so if you have a problem with me, if there's iniquity in me, like, you think I've done something wrong, then just kill me. Instead of, like, not letting me go up to the king's house. So Joab came to the king and told him, and when he had called for Absalom, he came to the king and bowed himself on his face to the ground before the king. And the king kissed Absalom. And then he ends up being able to see David again. And yeah, that's chapter 14. Thank you. Yeah, pretty good chapter, I would say. Yeah, basic enough. Just basically how Joab, I don't know if manipulate's the right word, but basically just gets David to rule that Absalom can come back. And then this will even be a test. Well, along with Abner, it will be a testament of, like, Joab's sort of character too, because Joab is, like, sort of, and we've seen it more than a bit at this point. But Abner is sort of like, Joab is, like, sort of a dark horse, I guess you could say, if you know what that means. Where basically he does a lot of, like, dirt in order to, like, get a good result. Like, he basically hired this woman to lie to the king in order to get Absalom to come back. When he really could have probably just had a conversation with David. Mm-hmm. Right? And then the same with Abner, where he secretly smote Abner, and killed him, when he probably could have handled the thing a lot more honestly. Because the thing is, it's not even that, like, he fought Abner out in the open to be because of his brother's death. He brought him in, and that's even David called him out. He brought him in secretly as, like, a friend, and then stabbed him. Like, basically deceived him, making him think he was his friend, and then killed him. Where, again, like, Abner less good result, right? But, like, doing bad things in order to get a good result. Where it's, like, it's not quite how you should handle things, especially with the Lord. But, yeah, that's all I gotta say about 14.
Alright, well, on to chapter 15, and verse 1. And it came to pass after this, that Absalom prepared his chariots and horses, and 50 men to run before him. And Absalom rose up early and stood beside the way of the gate. And it was so that when that when any man that had a controversy came to the king for judgment, then Absalom called unto him and said, Of what city art thou? And he said, Thy servant is of the tribes of Israel. And Absalom said unto him, See, thy matters are good and right, but there is no man deputed of the king to hear thee. Absalom said, Moreover, O that I were made judges in the land, O that I were made judge in the land, that every man which hath any suit or cause might come unto me, and I would do him justice. And it was so that when any man came nigh to him to do obeisance, he put forth his hand and took him and kissed him. And on this manner did Absalom to all Israel that came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel. So right here, Absalom was preparing something. He's like, hey, when you basically go to inquire, or like it says in verse verse 4, if I was made judge in the land that every man. So he's making his game plan, and he does it, right? And it even says in verse 6, he stole the hearts of the men of Israel. Like, now instead of going to David, now they're confiding in going to Absalom instead, right? Verse 7. And it came to pass after 40 years that Absalom said unto the king, I pray thee, let me go and pay my vow which I have vowed unto the Lord in Hebron. For thy servant vowed a vow while I abode at Geshur in Syria, saying, If the Lord shall bring me again indeed to Jerusalem, then I will serve the Lord. And the king said unto him, Go in peace. So he arose and went to Hebron. And Absalom sent spies throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, As soon as you hear the sound of the trumpet, then you shall say, Absalom reigneth in Hebron. And with Absalom went 200 men out of Jerusalem that were called. And they went in their simplicity, and they knew not anything. And Absalom sent for Ahithophel the Gilonite, David's counselor, from his city, even from Gilo, while he offered sacrifices. And the conspiracy was strong for the people. And the people increased continually with Absalom. So, in the beginning of the chapter, we see the initial part of the plan. Hey, we're going to, slowly but surely develop these people, right? And then 40 years later, he talks to David. He's like, let me go back to Hebron, because I had made this vow to the Lord that I'm going to serve him if he lets me come back to Jerusalem. Point being, hey, he ends up telling the people, hey, when you hear the sound of the trumpet, tell everybody Absalom's reigning in Hebron, right? But in verse 12, it even says, like, the conspiracy is growing strong. Like, Absalom, he's been planting seeds this whole time. Now he's actually starting to come to fruition. Now people are starting to confide in him, believe in him, turn to him, right? Verse 13, and there came a messenger to David saying, the hearts of the men of Israel are after Absalom's. And David said unto all his servants that were with him at Jerusalem, Arise and let us flee. For we shall not else escape from Absalom. Make speed to depart, lest he overtake us suddenly, and bring evil upon us, and smite the city with the edge of the sword. So now we're seeing like the plan. Absalom really almost a stage of a coup, right? And so David ends up hearing about this, and he's like, "Hey, let's run, right? Make speed to depart. Like, let's get up out of here." Lest he come and overtake us. Verse 15, and the king's servant said unto the king, Behold, thy servants are ready to do whatsoever my lord the king shall appoint. And the king went forth, and all his household after him. And the king left 10 women, which were concubines, to keep the house. And the king went forth, and all the people after him, and tarried in a place that was far off. And all his servants passed on beside him. And all the Cherethites, and all the Pelethites, and all the Gittites, 600 men, which came after him from Gath, passed on before the king. And then said the king to Ittai the Gittites, Wherefore goest thou also with us? Return to thy place and abide with the king, for thou art a stranger and also in exile. Whereas thou camest but yesterday, should I this day make thee go up and down with us? Seeing I go whither I may, return thou and take back thy brethren, mercy and truth be with thee. And Attai answered the king and said, As the Lord liveth, and as my lord the king liveth, surely in what place my lord the king shall be, whether in death or life, even there also shall thy servant be. And David said to Ittai, Go and pass over. And Ittai the Gittites passed over, and all his men, and all the little ones that were with him. And all the country wept with a loud voice, and all the people passed over. The king also himself passed over the brook Kidron, and all the people passed over towards the way of the wilderness. And lo, Zadok also and all the Levites were with him, bearing the ark of the covenant of God. And they set down the ark of God, and Abiathar went up until all the people had done passing out of the city. And the king said unto Zadok, Carry back the ark of God into the city, for I shall find favor in the eyes of the Lord. He will bring me again and show me both it and its habitation. But if he thus say, I have no delight in thee, behold, here am I. Let him do to me as seemeth good unto man. The king said also unto Zadok the priest, Art not thou as here? Return into the city in peace, and your 2 sons with you, Ahimaaz thy son, and Jonathan the son of Abiathar. See, I will tarry in the plain of the wilderness until there come word from you to certify me. Zadok therefore and Abiathar carried the ark of God again to Jerusalem, and they tarried there. And David went up by the ascent of Mount Olivet, and wept as he went up, and had his head covered, and he was barefoot. And all the people that was with him covered every man his head, and they went up, weeping as they went up. And one told David, saying, Ahithophel is among the conspirators with Absalom. And David said, O Lord, I pray thee, turn the counsel of Ahithophel into foolishness. And it came to pass that when David was come to the top of the mount, where he worshipped God, behold, Hushai the Archite came to meet him with his coat rent and earth upon his head. Unto whom David said, If thou passest on with me, then thou shalt be a burden unto me. But if thou return to the city and say unto Absalom, I will be thy servant, O king, as I have been thy father's servant hitherto, so will I now also be thy servant. Then mayest thou for me defeat the counsel of Ahithophel. And hast thou not there with thee Zadok and Abiathar the priest? Therefore shall be that what things soever thou shalt hear out of the king's house, thou shalt tell it to Zadok and Abiathar the priest. Behold, they have there with them their 2 sons, Ahimaaz, Zadok's son, and Jonathan, Abiathar's son. And by them ye shall send unto me everything that ye can hear. So Hushai, David's friend, came into the city, and Absalom came into Jerusalem.
Good reading.
Thank you.
I think 2 Samuel 15 is a really... Oh, peace, Jennifer. Peace, Sister Jen. Peace, Jediah Israel. I missed a lot of those. Yeah, peace. I think 2 Samuel 15 is a really good example of, like, sort of something that we've read in the Proverbs a lot so far. Or like the idea of like a strange woman. Or like her ways appear good, but their ways of deceit. They'll lead, like she'll pull people like a simple in and lead them to death. Where, like I know like I'm comparing Absalom essentially to a strange woman, but like even like in the spiritual sense of like what is it really talking about? We're just like getting drawn away, or just the nature of deceit, right? Where Absalom played a part for like 40 years. 40 years he worked to obtain favor of people just so he could do this, right? Where it's the thing of like, yeah, that's like people do that. That's not a thing that is just even something that like only ever happens like once in a lifetime or once in a century or a generation. Like that happens all the time. People will play parts to get what they want for as long as they need to. Right? And that's something that you need to be aware of in life, right? That's why you have so many scriptures that talk about like try the spirit by the spirit, beware false prophets, right? And not all who call upon me my name, like not all who say Lord, Lord, right? Like it in so many different ways, it's all the same thing repeated, where not everyone is who they pretend they are or who they say they are, right? Where you all, again, you have to be careful with that. Because if you're not careful, exactly what Proverbs talks about that happens with a strange woman will happen to you. Or to those you care about. You'll be drawn unto death. Because you won't see that's where they're leading you. Also why the book says not to put your trust in man. But yeah, real sad. Second time in his life, David's on the run.
Yeah. It's time from the sun.
It's not
But
from
I don't know though, because I wonder why. Like, because we all know David, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, David is David. So I wonder, like, if he's on the run. Because you got to think.
Oh, by choice, essentially.
No, completely. But I'm saying, because, you know, he could have. It's not like he was running from Saul because he was afraid of Saul. You know,
oh, yeah, same way. Yeah.
Right. So I say that with here, I wonder if it was either. If it was his son, like he didn't want to kill his son, or if it was, like, his guilt. Like, and what I mean by that is,
like,
like,
with Bathsheba?
Yeah, because he was like, he said,
26 and 25.
What's
That's why. Sorry, it's lower.
For sure, lower. Oh, verse 15. And the king's servant said unto the king, behold, thy servants are ready. No, that's not it. That's not it. But the point is, he said something here that was like.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. No, yeah, it is 25 and 26.
25, 26?
Yeah. If I shall find favor in the eyes of the Lord, he'll bring me again and show me both it and his habitation.
Yep.
But if he thus say, I have no delight in thee, behold, here I am, let him do to me as seemeth good unto him.
Right. So, like, for him to make the statement, like, if God, like, doesn't have any delight in me, it almost comes like maybe that could be his guilt. So I wonder if it was he just didn't want to kill his son, or if it was the guilt. But either way, he's on the run again.
Yeah. I mean, like, we'll see, like, that when Absalom, spoiler, does eventually die, that even, like, he mourns his death. Right. And, like, Joab even gets mad at him that he does.
Right.
But, like, yeah, I think it's really, like, it says in almost a few different ways that, like, yeah, he didn't want to kill Absalom. But also, I think even not just, like, Bathsheba, also could be because of Tamar a little bit, too.
Break that down.
Because this all started, like, snowball effect, this all started with Absalom killing Amnon, because Amnon raped Tamar.
Right.
And David didn't do anything to Amnon. Not that, as far as we can read, David didn't punish Amnon.
Right.
David didn't lock Amnon up. He definitely didn't kill Amnon because he was alive for Absalom to kill, and that was 2 years later.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So the thing is, like, Grant, he was mad about it. It makes that very clear. But what was done by him, it doesn't really say.
Right.
So maybe it was something. I'm not going to say completely say that he didn't do anything, but he definitely did not kill Amnon. Right. That much is very clear. So, like, could even be like, well, all of this started with, like, the whole Amnon and Tamar thing. Maybe, I honestly see it more so, like, the Bathsheba point.
Yeah.
But still, like, yeah, where, like, he's like, man, yeah, some decisions led me here, and admittedly, like, Nathan told me this is what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And this is not even the end of it.
No.
But yeah, that's all I gotta say. 15. So, 16?
Mm-hmm.
I do like that David has a bunch of riot guys. They're all willing to follow him. Like, and he has to be repeated. Like, no, you have to, no.
Well, you gotta think, there. Like...
It's smart the way he did, because he's like, well, I need you guys to be eyes. I need you to, like... I can't have everyone be with me. I need some of you to pretend to be with him.
Yeah. And then even, like, what was the name? Ittai? It says the Gittites, right? So he was a stranger. Point being, it wasn't the Gittites, it was the Philistines. But remember when David was running from Saul? Like, he was like, bro, like, you like an angel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's who he was, and that's how people saw it. It's like, of course.
Yeah, of course they would side with him.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
They look at him like he's just amazing, which
he was, yeah.
Yeah, so.
All right. 2 Samuel 16 and verse 1. And when David was a little past the top of the hill, behold, Ziba, the servant of Mephibosheth, met him with a couple of asses saddled. Remember, Mephibosheth was Jonathan's son. So this is based, and remember, David took Mephibosheth in. So now this servant of Mephibosheth is meeting him with some donkeys, so with a couple of asses saddled. And upon them 200 loaves of bread, and 100 bunches of raisins, and 100 of summer fruits, and a bottle of wine. And the king said to Ziba, "What meanest thou by these?" And Ziba said, "The asses be for the king's household to ride on, and the bread and summer fruit for the young men to eat, and the wine, and that such as be faint in the wilderness may drink." And the king said, "Where is thy master's son?" And Ziba said to the king, "Behold, he abideth at Jerusalem, for he said, Today shall the house of Israel restore me the kingdom of my father." Then said the king to Ziba, "Behold, thine are all that pertaineth unto Mephibosheth." And Ziba said, "I humbly beseech thee, that I may find grace in thy sight, my lord, O king." So basically, Ziba's like, "Oh, where is Mephibosheth? Thy master's son." So where is Mephibosheth? And he's basically Mephibosheth is thinking that he's gonna get the kingdom back for Saul. And for Saul's lineage, he's gonna somehow get the kingdom back. "Today shall the house of Israel restore me the kingdom of my father." And David's talking to Ziba, which is Mephibosheth's servant. You're gonna get all the stuff. Hey, you're gonna get all the stuff that Mephibosheth, all the stuff Mephibosheth has, is gonna go to you. And Ziba's "I humbly beseech thee that I may find grace in thy sight." I humbly accept your offer. Thank you, king. And when King David came to Bahurim, behold, thence came out a man of the family of the house of Saul, whose name was Shimei, the son of Gera. He came forth and cursed still as he came. So now, another from the house of Saul, from the same family. Shimei, he's coming up and he's cursing David, right? Speaking against him. And he cast stones at David, he threw rocks at him. And then all the servants of King David, and all the people and all the mighty men were on his right hand and on his left. So, this whole time, David's got armies of strong men with him. And thus said Shimei when he cursed, come out, thou bloody man, and thou man Belial. The Lord hath returned upon thee all the blood of the house of Saul, in whose stead thou hast reigned. And the Lord delivered the kingdom into the hand of Absalom thy son. And behold, thou art taken in thy mischief, because thou art a bloody man. So he's basically accusing David, all this is happening because of what you did to the house of Saul, and you stole the kingdom from them, and you killed them, and so on and so forth. None of which is true. We know the Lord took the kingdom from Saul and gave it to David. We know that the Lord killed, that David had nothing to do with the deaths of Saul and Jonathan, and that they died because, they died while fighting the Philistines, but even, Saul's end was destined because of, again, his own wickedness of not obeying the Lord, right? So, but he's just saying all this, just speaking against David right now, right? Then said Abishai the son of Zeruiah unto the king, so one of his men, why should this dead dog curse my lord the king? Let me go over, I pray thee, and take off his head. So why are you going to let this dog, talk smack about you? I'm going to go over there and kill him. And the king said, so David says, what have I to do with thee, sons of Zeruiah? So let him curse, because the Lord hath said unto him, curse David. Who shall then say, wherefore hast thou done so? He's hey, man, all of this, because he understands it's all part of the punishment, right? This is all coming from the Lord, right? So man, don't do anything to him. Leave him alone. The Lord's moved him in doing this and cursing me, right? Because David knows this is all part of what the Lord cursed upon him because of his sin with Bathsheba. Okay? Because the thing is Shimei's right in that this is all happening because of David's sin. It's just he's completely wrong about what David did. He has nothing to do with Saul. It has nothing to do with Saul's house. This is because he committed adultery and killed Uriah the Hittite. Right? And David said to Abishai and to all his sons, behold, my son, which came forth from my bowels, seeketh my life. How much more now may this Benjamite do? Let him alone and let him curse, for the Lord hath been in him. He's I'm being hunted by my own son. This man can't do nothing to irritate me, right? Whatever this man may try to do to me, it means nothing. It may be that the Lord will look on my affliction, and that the Lord will requite me good for his cursing this day. And that's he's hey, maybe the Lord will look upon this and requite it for good, so that instead of like killing this man or trying to punish him, right, for doing evil against me. He's still cursing him, right? That I took it on the chin, and the Lord looks at me for good, and like he remembers this as a good thing that I did. And as David and his men went by the way, Shimei went along on the hillside over against him, and cursed as he went, and threw stones at him and cast dust. And the king and all the people that were with him came weary and refreshed themselves. And Absalom and all the people, the men of Israel, came to Jerusalem, and Ahithophel with him. And it came to pass when Hushai the Archite, David's friend, was come unto Absalom, that Hushai said to Absalom, God save the king, God save the king. So now, Hushai is basically pretending to try and be Absalom's friend. And Absalom said to Hushai, is this thy kindness to thy friend? Why wentest thou not with thy friend? So Absalom's like he knows he's tight with David, so he's like, well, why don't you go out with the? Is this your friendship? Is this why didn't you go out with David? I thought you guys were cool. And Hushai said to Absalom, nay, but whom the Lord and this people and all the men of Israel choose, his will I be, and with him will I abide. It's like, hey, I'm basically with whoever's king. I'm with whoever the people and the Lord decide to be the ruler. Which we know is not the case, but he's playing to his role. He's sucking up to Absalom. And again, whom should I serve? Should I not serve in the presence of his sons? I gotta serve your father. Should I not also serve you? As I have served in thy father's presence, so will I be in thy presence. Then said Absalom to Ahithophel, give counsel among you what we shall do. And Ahithophel said to Absalom, go in unto thy father's concubines, which he had left to keep the house. And now Israel shall hear that thou art abhorred of thy father. Then shall the hands of all that are with thee be strong. So he basically said, hey, go sleep with your father's concubines. Remember, concubines are wives, right? So go sleep with your father's wives. This is also something that the Lord promised with David. Now he said, hey, the same thing that you did, that you slept with another man's wife, the same thing is going to happen to you. And he says, this has happened in secret, but this will happen in the open before all of Israel. Because that's what Absalom did. He slept with them before, all Israel knew. And we'll see how. 22. So they spread Absalom a tent on the top of the house. And Absalom went in unto his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel. So he went to the top of the house, put a tent up there, and before the sight of all Israel went in the tent and had sex with his father's wives. Well, some of them. And the counsel of Ahithophel, which he counseled in those days, was as if a man had inquired at the oracle of God. So it was all the counsel of Ahithophel, both with David and with Absalom. So Ahithophel, he gave crazy good. So that's the thing. He gave him wicked counsel, but it was good counsel in the sense of that it got the job. What he said would happen from it did happen. He strengthened Absalom's hand. Because they're seeing the power that Absalom currently has and that he was able to go in and sleep with David's wives. Right? Now, of course, wicked, but Ahithophel was I guess you could say, he was cunning. He was smart. Not everything he said was necessarily the good thing to do, but it was the smart thing to do. Right? But yeah, that is 16.
Verse 12 really hits
yeah.
This man's coming at David. Not just coming at David, he's coming at the king, right? The king of Israel, the one who the Lord anointed to be king. Right? But through all that, through the cursing, right? David makes a phenomenal statement. He says, hey, it may be that the Lord will look on my affliction, the things that I'm going through, and that the Lord will requite me good for his cursing this day. So it's that the Lord will bless me or repay me back good for enduring this right here and not doing anything back. And especially when you're David. When you, Abishai said, he was bro, I'll take his head off right now. It was nothing to David and to his people to kill, right? So I could take his head off and bring him back to you. But the point is, they was no. And to me, that's important. That's a good mindset for us to have today. It's hey, you going through stuff. Hey, remember, vengeance belongs to the Lord, period. We don't live in that time. The Lord isn't sending us to battle. We don't live in that time. Vengeance belongs to the Lord. So But as you're going through something, it's like, hey, first off, we understand that tribulation worketh patience. So, hey, you going through something is getting you better, whether you like it or not. Like going through trials and tribulations and having your faith tried and you suffering is building you up to something. But even more so than that, like maybe the Lord will pay you back good or look out for you because you stuck by him, right? Or face that persecution unrighteously. You know what I'm saying? Because like you mentioned in the thing, what's his name? Shimei is swearing that this is happening because David destroyed Saul and them. So he's persecuting David unrighteously.
Yeah.
Shimei doesn't understand that God's the one who did this, right? Mm-hmm. And that can happen to us. Sometimes we could be serving God and face repercussion for it, and that's okay. Jesus himself was the epitome of that, right? He said, who's better than the master? Who's greater than the master? Jesus suffered, we're going to suffer. But everyone suffers. That's something the New Testament tells you, but it's better to suffer for righteousness' sake because in the end you have a everlasting reward. You could be suffering in this life just to suffer in the next life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's better for you to suffer for righteousness' sake. But point being, if you do that, just like how David said, possibility is good. Have that faith that the Lord will look out for you because you, throughout the persecution, will still being obedient to him. Right? But I just think that's dope.
Yeah. I think, it's also a mindset that we all continually need to have, especially where we're going through something bad. Not just going through something bad, but the specific instance of someone's treating us poorly, right? And instead of us being reacting in anger and reacting in hostility, that we take a step back and we think, this is a good opportunity for me to gain favor with the Lord. By using kindness, by using a soft answer, by using humility, by using mercy, I can gain favor with the Lord.
Right.
And it's the same way of, is it Colossians 2? I cannot remember. But I may Google it and have us read it after verse 17. But where if someone's wicked against you, right, or someone does evil against you, right, do good unto them, because either you will cast coals of fire upon their head to continue to be wicked against you, or you'll reconcile and they'll become a friend. I believe I don't remember what that is. I'll find it for you. But still to the point, the Bible says that, right? Mm-hmm. Where what is the worst thing that can happen in you being kind, responding to evil with good? Literally, the worst outcome from that is really that person going to the lake of fire, not you, them. Right? Because you're getting an extra reward with the Lord by doing that. And building a rapport with God so that you will go to the kingdom. Right? And the best case scenario is that you help them and then they can also go.
Yeah. So
the worst case, the worst case scenario is not even bad for you, it's bad for them. So that's the thing, we have to have that mind. I'm not saying it's not difficult. Of course it's difficult. Right? But anything that's worth doing typically is, right? Especially when we're talking about serving the Lord and getting literally eternal life, right?
It reminds me of that story in Acts, where the men got beat up and were happy to get beat up because it's hey, I suffered for righteousness' sake.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the same thing, kind of when you brought up mercy, right? We need just how they was happy that they got to get beat up for the Lord. Hey, we should be happy in the moments where we can show mercy to people because that's how we obtain mercy, by showing mercy to others, right? So, but this is also just a testament to David, David's humility, just like how I was talking about how he was, we got to see kind of his mind in chapters 6 through 10, and what made him such a great king and a great servant of God. But even something like this, like I said, where you have full capability to kill this man, right? And it don't and nothing it won't be wrong. You know what I mean? But you show mercy on him, so mercy and humility, because at the end of the day, who are you? One of the things that I pointed out yesterday was David's got it made, right? He's a king. He's got anything that he can want and need, but he still calls himself a servant. He still has that humility to him. Point being, that humility and that mercy is what we need. But that's all I got to say about this. You ready for 17?
Yep.
You want to talk? You want to go there first, or you want?
No. I think I'll just do it after. Okay. This is our last spot.
All right. Well, chapter 17. This will be where we call it at. Chapter 17 and verse 1. Moreover, Ahithophel. So we was kind of talking for a little bit. Remember Ahithophel, the one who told him to sleep with his father's wives, right? The one that gave the counsel. All right, so 17:1. Moreover, Ahithophel said unto Absalom, let me now choose out 12,000 men, and I will arise and pursue after David this night. And I will come upon him while he is weary and weak-handed, and will make him afraid. And all the people that are with him shall flee, and I will smite the king only. So now Ahithophel is talking to Absalom, and he's like, hey, let me get 12,000 men. We're going to go out there. We're going to find David. Whenever he's weak and weary, tired, we're going to kind of like when David walked on Saul and Saul was asleep and stuff. He was like, hey, we're going to walk to David and his people. We're going to scare them. All the people are going to flee from David. And then he's just going to kill David. First off, you don't even know the people with David. Because that's not even how they get down. They're not going to run. But verse 3, and I will bring back all the people unto thee. The man whom thou seekest is as if all return. So all the people shall be in peace. And the saying pleased Absalom will and all the elders of Israel. So Ahithophel's like, I'm going to just kill David. I'm going to bring everybody back. It's going to be peace. It's going to be, you're going to be the new king. This is the proposition that he's telling Absalom. And Absalom liked the way it sounded. Right, verse 5. Then said Absalom, call now Hushai the Archite also, and let us hear likewise what he says. So he's like, so Absalom was pleased with what Ahithophel said, but he was like, all right, let's talk to Hushai as well. Let's hear what he says. Verse 6. And when Hushai was come to Absalom, Absalom spoke unto him, saying, Ahithophel hath spoken after this manner. Shall we do after his saying? If not, speak thou. And Hushai said unto Absalom, the counsel that Ahithophel hath given is not good at this time. For said Hushai, thou knowest thy father and his men, that they be mighty men, and they be chaffed in their minds. So just like how I was saying, that's not even how David and his men get down. They're not going to run they're ready for war at all times. So he's like, nah, Ahithophel's plan is not good. He's like, you know that your father and his men, how they're mighty men, and they be chafed in their minds, as a bear robbed of her whelps in the field, and thy father is a man of war, and will not lodge with the people. Behold, he is hid now in some pit or some other place. And it will come to pass, when some of them be overthrown at the first, that whosoever heareth it will say, there was a slaughter among the people that followed Absalom. And he also that is valiant, whose heart is as the heart of a lion, shall utterly melt. For all Israel knoweth that thy father is a mighty man, and they which be with him are valiant men. Therefore I counsel that all Israel be generally gathered unto thee, from Dan even to Beersheba, as the sand that is by the sea for multitude, and that thou go to battle in thine own person. So shall we come upon him in some place where he shall be found, and we will light upon him as the dew falleth on the ground, and of him and of all the men that are with him there shall not be left so much as one. Moreover, if he be gotten into a city, then shall all Israel bring ropes to that city, and we will draw it into the river, until there be not one small stone found there. And Absalom and all the men of Hittite said, the counsel of Hushai the Archite is better than the counsel of Ahithophel. For the Lord appointed to defeat the good counsel of Ahithophel, to the intent that the Lord might bring evil upon Absalom. Then said Hushai unto Zadok and to Abiathar, the priest. Thus and thus did Ahithophel counsel Absalom and the elders of Israel, and thus have I counseled. Now therefore send quickly and tell David, saying, Lodge not this night in the plains of the wilderness, but speedily pass over, lest the king be swallowed up and all the people that are with him. Because remember, Hushai is on David's side. He's a spy, right? He came and he's pretending to be on Absalom's side. So Hushai makes this new plan, right? And it's, hey, we're gonna get all. It says like we're gonna get from Dan to Beersheba, gather all the people, and then just go down there and kill everybody, right? So they made the new plan, something different, but all in the intent. It's almost like he's leading the charge, so he knows exactly where to tell David not to be, right? So, but he's like, go tell David that he needs to leave lest he be swallowed up, and all the people that are with him, and they get caught and they die, right? Verse 17, now Jonathan and Ahimaaz stayed in En-Rogel, for they might not be seen to come into the city. And the wench went and told them, and they went and told King David. So, it's almost like they're what's that thing called where you go like this?
Waiting? The sheep?
No, bro. No. Like where I do a job and then I pass to you and you do the job and it's like something line. It's a something line.
Assembly line?
Assembly line. So like, yeah, they went to Jonathan and them, and then Jonathan and them actually returned it to David. Nevertheless, a lad saw them and told Absalom, but they went both of them away quickly and came to a man's house in Bahurim, which had a well in his court, whither they went down. And the woman took and spread a covering over the well's mouth and spread ground corn thereon, and the thing was not known. And when Absalom's servant came to the woman's house, they said, Where is Ahimaaz and Jonathan? And the woman said unto them, They be gone over the brook of water. And when they had sought and could not find them, they returned to Jerusalem. And it came to pass, after they were departed, that they came up out of the well, and went and told King David, and said unto David, Arise, and pass quickly over the waters, for thus hath Ahithophel counseled against you. Then David arose, and all the people that were with him, and they passed over Jordan. By the morning light, there lacked not one of them that was not gone over Jordan. So, Jonathan and Ahimaaz, they made it to David, warned David. David and them got, like what does it say? They passed over the Jordan. So they fled, right? 23. And when Ahithophel saw that his counsel was not followed, he saddled his ass and arose and gat him home to his house, to a city, and put his household in order, and hanged himself, and died, and was buried in the sepulchre of his father. So it was like, Ahithophel seen that Absalom wasn't following him. He went home and says he got his house in order and killed himself, right? 24. Then David came to Mahanaim, and Absalom passed over Jordan, he and all the men of Israel with him. And Absalom made Amasa captain of the host instead of Joab, which Amasa was a man's son whose name was Ithra, an Israelite, and went it to Abigail, the daughter of Nahash, sister to Zeruiah, Joab's mother. And so Israel and Absalom pitched in the land of Gilead. And it came to pass when David was come to Mahanaim, that Shobi the son of Nahash of Rabah of the children of Ammon, and Makir the son of Amiel of Lo-Debar, and Barzillai the Gileadite of Rogelim, brought beds and basins and earthen vessels, and wheat and barley and flour, and parched corn and beans and lentils and parched pulse, and honey and butter and sheep and cheese of kine for David, and for the people that were with him to eat, for they said the people is hungry and weary and thirsty in the wilderness. The end of chapter 17, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's I think it's the show, like the Lord is moving in everything, like the whole Hushai and Ahithophel thing. I think even just what Ahithophel did after the fact, because I think that's to me, at least, that's the Lord, right? Because in rationale, it's like someone took someone else's advice over you one time, and that was enough to destroy your life, that you literally ended it all. Think about that. That I can't think of any other way than that was the Lord who moved that. You know? Yeah. Typical David shenanigans on the run. And I always love reading this too, because all the people always coming through for David in order to, especially all of these people working together as a cohesive unit in order to keep David and them safe, to keep them McCurr, that Shelby, and Barzillai, all making sure that they're fed and that they have beds to sleep in and water to drink and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I really have to say about chapter 17.
Likewise.
Do you have a place you want to go to?
No, we can go to yours, because I'm trying to think about where it's at.
I can't find the place I was speaking about before, but there is a place I would like to go, because I feel like it, not saying the exact same thing, but it fits the same sort of bill. It literally is just Ephesians 4:31 and 32. I think even I think reading 26 and 27 will add to the point of what happened with David, right? This is Ephesians 4:26 to 27 and 31 and 32. Be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath, neither give place to the devil. Right? Where being just emotions in general, they're okay. Everyone has emotions. Everyone gets sad. Everyone gets angry. It's just that is just what happens. But everything about serving the Lord is about controlling that, right? That's literally what temperance is, self-control, right? And then long-suffering and patience, being able to suffer long, being able to endure to where you don't allow yourself, with temperance you don't allow yourself to allow your anger to influence how you behave. So be angry enough. You can be angry, right? But that anger shouldn't lead you to sin, right? You shouldn't allow that anger to let you sin, right? Or to cause you to sin. An example of which is with Shimei. We'll see much later in 1 Kings. David never forgot about Shimei. When it was time for him to pass the torch on to Solomon, he said, "Hey, there's this guy Shimei. He cursed me out. I want you to check up on him. I want you to." David never, literally on his deathbed, was talking to his son, was there was this guy Shimei, and when I was going through a tough time, he cursed me, and I want you to check up on him. And Solomon even had it where he literally was not allowed to leave his grounds or his city as punishment, right? But also, he never forgot about it. But we saw in that moment, he didn't allow it to cause him to do anything in that moment. And we even read and took some time to talk about why that was the case, right? Because going through that, right, having patience with that, allowing himself to suffer long, right, instead of allowing his emotions to sway him, he was obtaining favor with the Lord, right? So, and that's the same as giving place to the devil. We shouldn't have anything within us that we allow the devil to use as a way to get us to sin. So that could be your anger, that could be your sadness, that could be your grief, your jealousy, your envy, and anything within you, your desires, right? We shouldn't allow anything to be used by Satan in order to turn us against the Lord, to turn us against his law, his commandments, his word, right? Then 31, 32, it's the same thing. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away with you with all malice. So put all of that anger, bitterness, wrath, right? And like even that bitterness, going back to forgiveness and mercy, right? That bitterness, let things go. And clamor, arguments, evil speakings, everything Shimei was saying, you have to let that all go with all malice. So you're letting that malice go too. So 32. And be kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, hath forgiven you. Right? Because at the end of the day, it's very important to remember we're all debtors to God, right? And if we're all in debt, right, none of us are really, all of us are debtors. None of us is really more important. None of us is worth more than the other. None of us are better than the other, right? All of sin that comes short of the glory of God. So it's important to remember that, especially, and that makes it easier for you to be kind to one another and to be forgiving. Because you remember that you need forgiveness too. Not only from because you screwed up. You've done something even just on accident, to upset someone or to make them sad or something of the sort. You needed forgiveness, right? Even in that sense, you need forgiveness, so you should give it. But also, most especially with the Lord. We all need forgiveness with the Lord. So, in the same way He gives it to us, for Christ's sake, we should be willing to give it to one another. We should. And yeah, that's, yeah.
Alright then, I'm going to read 1 Peter 4.
Okay.
Because this is what I was quoting when I was talking about that, about rejoicing in your suffering, right? But this is Peter, he's telling us about it. 1 Peter 4 in verse 12, he said, Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trials which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you. But rejoice, inasmuch as you are partakers of Christ's suffering. So he said, don't think it's strange, or don't get mad, don't get upset, don't think it's strange. But rejoice, be happy when this happens. That inasmuch as you are partakers of Christ's sufferings, when you suffer for righteousness' sake, you are now a part of Christ's suffering, right? So, and it's something to rejoice about, something to be happy about, because just like Jesus was resurrected, so will you be. So will you be dwelling, you're gonna dwell with Him, right? Right? That when His glory shall be revealed, ye may be glad also with exceeding joy. So hey, when the Lord's glory is revealed, you're gonna be right there with Him, happy right there with Him, right? Why? Because you went through this, because you suffered and went through those fiery trials, right? Not only did you go through them, but you maintained the word of God in you. Even in that situation with David, he very well could have, but that's not what he did, right? He didn't go off like that. Verse 14, if ye be reproached for the name of Christ, happy are you. So again, if you're going through something for the name of God, be happy, right? Happy are you. And again, that's what David was going. David was being cursed at because God made him king, really. Because David did everything right. When you read, David could have been killed Saul. David didn't kill Saul. He reverenced Saul with the utmost respect, right? But it was God so David was being reproached for God. And even for us, we can be reproached when, hey, we're keeping the law of God. We're just doing what the Lord said. Just like David, we're just doing what the Lord said. And sometimes, hey, people may not like us. People may hate us. People may try to throw traps our way and stumbling blocks or just whatever they may do. But hey, like he said, if you're reproached for the name of Christ, happy are ye. For the Spirit of glory and of God resteth upon you. On their part, He is evil spoken of, but on your part, He is glorified. You going through that and you standing 10 toes just like Jesus did, you're glorifying Him. right? Verse 15, but let none of you suffer as murderers, or as a thief, or as an evildoer, or as a busybody in other men's matters. Point is, hey, you can like not just people that are serving God are suffering in this world, right? I would just go off just my own thought. There's no facts behind it. That majority of the world is suffering in some way. Like, point being, it's better for you to suffer as a servant of God, because like he said, when the Lord's glory is revealed, you're gonna be standing. You're gonna be glad with exceeding joy. Like, you're going to partake, and that's really that eternal life, right? You're gonna be right there with him enjoying that. But hey, it's worthless for you to suffer as, like you said, a murderer, busybody, or just as a wicked person. You're suffering, but you're wicked. Hey, you're suffering in this life, and then you're just gonna suffer in the next life too, right? But verse 16, yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God on his behalf. So hey, just remember, like, if you're suffering or if you're going through something, facing persecution, someone has something to say, like Shimei, just understand, hey, it's a good thing. It's something to rejoice about. Like, I wouldn't necessarily smile in their face and just laugh at them, but in your mind, like, understand, hey, this is a good thing. Like, the people in Acts, which we'll read eventually, but it's like they literally got beat up for the Lord. And when the people left after beating them up, they was happy. They was smiling like, yes, I got to suffer for the Lord's sake, right? And that's the same way. That's the same mindset. That's the same, diligence. Like, well, I always forget. What's the definition of diligence? It's like
continual working.
But like it's like energetic, right?
Yeah.
Like, continual
fervent.
Right.
Working.
But the point is, it's like it's that mindset in you. Like, it's something you're happy. Your diligence is like, not only are you continue working, but it's like you're happy, like you're
energetic.
doing it. Yeah, energetic, like you're doing it. And that's the same mindset we need to have about going through or facing persecutions for the name of God. Like, you could be you could be suffering persecutions for any reason, but you're suffering it for God's sake. And because you're doing that, you're earning rewards and ultimately the eternal life. Like, that's something to be happy for, right? But with that being said, that's all. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So with that, I believe we're done for today. As always, thank you for joining us for today's Daily Bible Reading. And Lord willing, we will see you all Sunday in order to pick up chapter 18. With that being said, have a wonderful night.
Peace.
Happy Sabbath.